everyone, and welcome back for another episode review. So, episode 5, the first of his name. We're actually halfway through the season already. That seems a little bit mind-boggling to me that it's halfway over already, and then we have to wait another 8 months. I just bummed myself out really bad. So, lots happened this episode, the first of which being that Westeros has a new king. We have sweet little Tommen Baratheon now. First off, let's talk about Cersei. First of all, she has a very reasonable talk with Marjorie over her marrying Tommen. Next, she has a very reasonable talk with her father about her marrying Loras. And then finally we get a scene with her having a very reasonable talk with Oberyn Martell, and they're sort of bonding over vengeance and having lost someone and being a parent. And at first I thought this was really weird because I'm thinking, where is crazy paranoid Cersei from the books? You know, like, there's literally a whole book of her point of view chapters of just her accusing everyone in her mind and everyone around her as the enemy, and sort of her coming into herself and kind of shelling herself in more. But then it dawned on me that what she's trying to do is just influence the judges. She's trying to get Oberyn, Tywin, and Mace Tyrell, but she's doing it through Marjorie because obviously, you know, she's the Tyrell in charge now that Olenna's gone back to Highgarden. So she's trying to influence Tyrion's trial in what she thinks is the most tactical way possible, really, even though obviously she's wrong and Tyrion didn't do it, but in her mind she did, and that's all that matters to her. You know, I appreciate the effort that they're putting in to kind of make her look like a mother, and not just this villain that chews on the scenery. And Cersei's a way grayer character than I think a lot of people give her credit for. She really is. Jaime and Tyrion, we didn't check in with this week at all, but again, we're gonna see a lot more of them in the second half of the season for sure. The only other Lannister that we check in with is Tywin. He talks about the Iron Bank and a little bit of foreshadowing there. Something I liked as a change from the books was Brienne and Podrick. You know what, I guess I shouldn't say that because they didn't really change anything per se, but the dialogue that was written and the acting between these two characters was really outstanding, and it changed something that was really slow in the books into something that was really engaging and really fun and really adorable, and Brienne and Podrick are really awesome. One thing that was changed, though, is that they're headed up to the Wall to see Jon because they think that Sansa will be there and not at the Eyrie. I don't know, it's kind of funny. It seems like everybody is headed to the Wall except for Stannis. So our other road trip pair, Arya and the Hound, are doing as well. She openly admits in this episode that he's on her hit list, and he kind of doesn't make that better by teaching her some pretty harsh life lessons and then smacking her in the face, but so far they're just keeping on. So my favorite scene by far this episode, as it has been for most of this season, is Sansa finally making it to the Eyrie with Peter Baelish. This is probably like the single change that I've loved more than anything else that HBO has changed from the books, and that's that Lysa is actually in on the fact that Sansa is who she is, because in the books she's just passed off as just like how they're passing it off with everyone else here. But it really makes for some really good, interesting scenes. So they're sitting there on the balcony and they're eating those lemon cakes, and then all of a sudden things go sour and the scene is absolutely just flipped on Sansa's head. Lysa accuses her of having an affair with Peter. She asks if she's pregnant. She asks, like, she's accusing her of not being a virgin. And after Sansa kind of breaks down enough, she lets up, but then she tells her that she's just gonna be married to Robert Arryn. And the scene ends with just the most telling look on Sansa's face, like, wow, I've just been traded from being a marital pawn in King's Landing to being a marital pawn here, and what's worse is it's from a family member, and I think that that's another thing that makes it so much worse, this change. So, last but not least again, we have Jon and Locke finally getting up to Craster's Keep. Jojen talks to Bran about his powers, and we get a really cool foreshadowing of a couple things that are gonna come. You know, it's funny, guys, man, if there was only a video that you could watch all about Bran's powers and how they work, that would maybe explain it a little better, if you're confused. Anyways, the Black Brothers attack the mutineers, and in the chaos, Locke sneaks in and tries to grab Bran. But then Bran wargs into Hodor and absolutely just, like, I think snapping his neck is an understatement. He almost, like, rips it off. There's, like, a bone sticking out. Bran then has the choice to call out to Jon, but Jojen, you know, pretty correctly reminds him that if he does so, Jon is just gonna grab him and say, like, yeah, you're not going anywhere, and take him back to Castle Black. It's pretty heartbreaking, but it was such a good character moment for Bran. Like, probably one of the best that he's ever had in the series. It's just a little sad that this really nice character moment was immediately undermined by this Pirates of the Caribbean-esque fight scene between Jon and Carl, but anyways. It was nice to see a sort of conclusion with Craster's Keep when they light it on fire and kind of putting an end to this plot cul-de-sac that they did in the last couple episodes. I don't know, last week I said I wasn't sure about it, but I think they wrapped it up nicely, and I think in the end I kind of like what they did there, or at least with Bran's half of it. I think Jon's side of it was really just him being there to take out the trash and to give him something to do. I think it's sort of funny because the Stark children that everyone sees as being key players in the series are Jon and Arya, but I think at the end of the day it's Bran and Sansa that are becoming more powerful than I think that even they realize. Sansa politically, and then Bran obviously because he has literal powers. But I think that they're the ones to watch out for. And that's not a spoiler, it's just my opinion, but I'm definitely I've always been more excited to see what those two are up to than Arya and Jon. Anyways, I thought this was a really great episode. Probably my favorite since the Purple Wedding, episode 2. But what did you guys think? Did you like the changes that they made to the sort of Bran-Jon storyline at Craster's Keep, or did you think it was just a waste of time? Also, more pictures. I have the ones that you guys voted up. Oberyn Loras and Cold Hands, who's still MIA in the series, of course. But obviously there's still a hell of a lot of wall behind me. You can even send me like a meme or a picture on Facebook and I'll do my best to put it up there for you. Also, I put this here thinking that it would look like wildfire. But then I thought it would be kind of obvious that all I did was put mouthwash in a jar. So... Anyways, we'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe.